I'm going to talk to you about narrative, you know, and coming from a person who likes to talk a lot, to sharpen it, to manage it, you need a lot of patience, perseverance, and diligence. I'm going to start from um, building the narrative for, say, the animal kingdom. And you see those animals out there, they look cute. Is much easier than it is for us human beings because we have a brain that constantly whirs. We are constantly in touch with billions of people. We make so many connections. Our neurons are constantly firing, and we constantly want to, you know, find newer ways of doing things or chilling or doing anything. I mean, or not doing anything at all. So a lot of what I have learned has come from the automotive industry. And it is about watching machines work. But guess what makes those machines work? It's people like you and me. And having been a commerce graduate and being a quack engineer, like I like to call myself, I learned everything on the job. And even the ability to talk, craft, and manage my speak is something that I learned while I was working. Coming back to the narrative and how you craft a narrative, I'm going to talk to you about how it's not restricted to just one document or one part or an set of incidents in your life. Narratives are crafted over a period of time. And the choice is either you craft your own narrative or you get people to talk about it. It would always be the former. It's better to craft your own narrative, whether it's a brand, whether it's a person, whether it's an ideology. It should always have a crafted narrative. I've had around 26 years of experience. I've worked across 5 organizations. I've dealt with around 8 CEOs. They may not seem to be much, but let me tell you, they were all folks in their own right. I've dealt with team sizes of 60. And in the marketing profession or the advertising profession, where you have creative teams, it can be extremely, extremely tough because you're dealing with people of different kinds. You're dealing with people with different emotions. It's not professional, as one would call it. You have to deal with emotions. There's a lot of EQ that you deal with in your daily lives. I worked across 8 portfolios, and each of these portfolios that I worked with came as a result of what work I put into my daily life. And I believe I learned a lot from the animal kingdom in that, which is put your head down and just get at your job. Because if you start questioning things that happen to you from an EQ perspective, you will probably get you will probably tumble over your own feet. I crafted my narrative over a period of time. Today, and I'm not shy to say it, I'm going to be 50 in a year or so. I crafted my narrative in multiples of 7 and how I looked at my life. This is from when I was a child and to till date, and what I expect it to be. Like I say, que sera, sera. It will be what it will be. And let me just start from the beginning, right? The first 7 years, I come from a family of 3 children, which makes me and I'm the middle child, which means I carry the size of I carry a complex the size of the Colorado desert, if you understand the simile. And that means I always had to fight for what I wanted. The younger was always younger, you can't say something to them. And the elder is, oh my God, elder, so you can definitely not say something to them. The younger has to be managed, has to be coddled, and has to be looked after. The elder is elder, right? So you tend to become a survivor, you fight. I used that one part of my life to become the fighter I am today. The confidence that I built in myself, and that's the cheat sheet I talk about. You take the instances in your life and you convert them into skills that will allow you to grow as a professional, if that is what you want to be. If you want to be a free thinker, you use the instances in your life to help you develop those better. Those skill sets, because nobody's going to teach you those skill sets. How to be a fighter is not a course in a university. I was my own enemy when I was 7 because I didn't know better. I was a rebel when I was 14. I used to run away from home. I played cricket matches. I was a goalkeeper in the hockey team. And let me assure you, in the year 1976 or 80s or 82, 83, it was not a good thing to be. Women in white skirts were not expected to be in the hockey field, and that too playing the goalkeeper position. So I was the rebel. And my mom couldn't get it out of my head as to why I couldn't score more than a 7 out of 100 in math. Being the daughter of an Aiyer professor, that should have come easily to me. But that being that, my rebellious nature was harnessed, and I put that into advertising and marketing and communications, my ability to speak, do storytelling, and take it to folks and tell them that the fight that you build in yourself, you know, is not something you need to fight. It's something that you need to leverage. I hear the statement very often, and I keep it at the back of my head, that it's not about the size of the dog in the fight. It is not about the size of the dog, right? It's about the size of the fight in the dog. And you need to choose your fights. And that is what made me a maverick. And it made me explore new situations. When I was 21, I got into the advertising industry. I joined Hindustan Thompson Associates, which was one of the foremost, the number one agency at that time. And I got into the automotive career that I so fondly remember now. I was a mother and a micromanager. I had to make little boxes, which meant this is how I will deal with my children. This is what I will do with my in-laws. This is what I'll do with my home. And this is what I'll do with my career. But they were not all horizontal. They were vertical. There was a percentage that I had allocated to all, because I knew that my children would remember me for only so much while. And if mama came home, it didn't mean that mama should make me study. So I refused to teach my children. I said, no, I'm not going to educate them. I will, yes, of course, I will educate them, but I'm not going to teach them math and English and science and social studies and history. And there was a reason for that. They shouldn't look at mama and think that, oh my God, when she comes home, that's it. We are sunk. We are only going to study. So whenever mama came home, which was not very early, we used to go out. We went to the beach. We walked. We picked shells. We went for walks. We went for runs. We did things that, like craft and art, that would basically bring joy to the little girls' hearts. And that's what really made me actually a micromanager on account of being a mother at that point. 35, I was a maven. I was doing really well. I was on top of my game. I was a vice president with JWT. I was rocking it in my career. I would come home. My children would see me get awards. And it was a fantastic feeling. My girls were growing. It was a fantastic point to be. However, I made a tough change from an industry perspective, moving from the front of the industry as a marketing professional to becoming an after-sales person, which is the absolute bondux of the automobile industry, if you know it better. And a lot of you would know that people don't willingly go to a service outlet. And that also crafts your thinking over a period of time. It allows you to understand the nuances of the auto industry, which you would have seen only the shiny bauble part of. So what the service part of the market does is, it tells you about how you need to get down to the nitty-gritty, go under the car, look at filters that are dirty, look at things that people want to change, look at what needs to be replaced and not repaired. Do you have a child path strategy? And that goes for life also, right? That also goes into crafting your narrative. So how do you do that? And that was the time when the catalyst in me came alive. At 49, which is where I am today, I am at the pinnacle of a change in my career. I have left the automotive industry behind. I have moved to being a startup on my own. And we are a very small organization. I've gotten into the animal healthcare market. And that is a journey that, like I say, is it will be what it will be. All of us must craft our narrative. Our narrative is not restricted to our curriculum vitae or our biodata. It's very important to see ourselves beyond the squares or boxes that have been built by the world. I know LinkedIn profiles are fantastic, CVs are great, and you must keep building on them. But do you put pen to paper and think about the skill sets you've acquired beyond the words that LinkedIn's algorithm throws at you? And that's where I think I would talk about the good old days. Because, you know, people would walk up to you and tell you how you're a great storyteller, and you need to be there to do it. You need to start presenting, and you'll be like, the first 15 years ago, I mean, my hands would shake and shiver when I'm standing in front of an audience. But that's not me today. That's a very different me that's standing in front of you. And that's because of this narrative that I have wanted to craft, which is about being a confident woman, about being a part of a diverse network of individuals, both from the automotive sector, the marketing communication sector, the corporate communication sector, and the most recent acquisition that was doing corporate social responsibility, which was giving back to society, whether it was planting trees, teaching children. These are things that craft the narrative about an individual that you need to pick up along the way. But while you're crafting your narrative, please remember we do have people building perceptions about you. And how that actually occurs is if you've been a part of any research, especially to do with automobiles, how they do this is a very simplistic manner. They reveal car exteriors alone to consumers. And post that, they go on to reveal just car exteriors plus car interiors. So as you read the table from 1 to 10, what you see behind me is they reveal every subsequent step or stage of the car. And by the time you get down to number 10, you will see that the perception of the brand has completely changed. It is not what it was intended to be. If you had to look at brands like MG or Kia or Maruti, right? And you go from point 1 to 10, you see how your perceptions would change when you come to number 5, which is the mother brand. Very similarly, you need to map yourselves, like in the case of brands, for yourself a narrative, and so you apply this to yourself. Have you put down your narrative on a piece of paper? And that is what is important when you're trying to build a career in the corporate space. Now, I did not have the benefit of somebody guiding me through the principles of what it should be, and there are no books on these things. So do this, and this shall give you a great way to look at what are those equalizer points which you need to plug up and plug down. Today, we all live a social persona. You're different on LinkedIn. I hope so. You're different on LinkedIn. You should be different on Facebook. You should be extremely different on Instagram. And you definitely need to go out there and live your life on Pinterest. I'm sorry I kept Twitter out of it. That's a personal opinion. But Pinterest is the place you can go to from art to craft to marketing, communication, CRM models. You would be surprised to see what you find on Pinterest. These social personas mark you as an individual. They bring a lot of you to the table. You know, as a brand person, I learned you are one in a sample size of many. When you say, okay, I don't like this creative or I don't like the way this hoarding looks, right? But at that time, you need to be very clear that you're talking about what the business needs and not what you think. So you set that part aside. So build the narrative on yourself, but have the lines for what the business needs, and that shall help you build a way better corporate career. Quick rules of engagement. Behind any successful man or woman could be a man or woman. I have a very, very, very strong man behind my success, my husband. And I don't say it very often. I never say it actually. So this is probably the first time I do. But the fact that he is not asking me questions allows me to glide, right? Always be prepared. You know, there are stereotypes for women. There are stereotypes for men too. Men are aggressive, women are not. Women talk a lot. Oh my God, she's shrieking. Oh my God, he's being aggressive. Oh my God, why is she always so ahead? She cuts my sentences before I can complete them. So those stereotypes have to be done away with. For those stereotypes to be done away with, you need to be prepared. You need to have data on the table. You need to be circumspect. You need to keep words small and stick to your time. You know, it doesn't matter. The 7 out of 100 never mattered to me. It was just one of those things. I left it in the past. I carry it with me just to remind me that I can make myself stronger, sharper, and taller. Be generous, karma exists. What goes around comes around. Build your narrative calmly, nicely. Don't step on people's toes. Be creative, be dolphin-like. There are sharks, dolphins, and carps in the outside world. Carps don't mind losing what they have. Sharks kill the opponent and don't want to come back for a negotiation. But dolphins, with their noses, hit sharks and make them move away to come back another day for a negotiation. So dolphins are creative. So be a dolphin. Diversity, it's not a dirty word, but don't go around telling women they are diversity candidates. This is for all the men in the room. Don't tell women they are here because you are diverse. No, women have or where they are is a result of their talent, their capability, and what they've been able to achieve. For men, be inclusive, be open to voices that are different. The reason a woman talks more or a woman talks in a certain manner or a certain tone is because that's how she's biologically intended to be. Same goes for men. For women, you need to back it with opinion, fact. Don't drive conversations, but have data behind them. Don't wait to be asked. In fact, there was a statement somewhere which said, let's pull up chairs to the table as women. Your chair should already be there at the table. Nobody needs to tell you to pull up a chair. Why should my chair have to be pulled up? Even that is an extra. If the man's chair is already at the table, I want the woman's chair there. If she's part of the board, it better be there on the table. To hold your narrative, here is a cheat sheet. You need to answer these questions. Who am I? Who do I want to be? How will I get there? What will stop me from getting there? And when I get there, what will I do? And finally, will this make me a star? Will this make a difference in the world? Will I leave a little bit of myself behind? To do all of this, we need to put pen to paper. We need to make sure that you have this narrative on hand. And it's a constantly evolving document like your curriculum vitae. So it cannot be your LinkedIn profile. It cannot be only your CV. You need to put answers to these questions, and it will keep evolving as you go past your career. Thank you very much, and it's been an honor.